What would be your top 3 tips how to find a job in London?
There's definitely a lot of jobs in customer service.
There's a lot of politics, gossip, ass kissing.
And how much you make per month?
Oh, that's a good question.
Accounting. I think it's just boring.
The company went bust, and then I got a job at the BBC.
What do you think about workplace love affairs? Have you ever had one?
Workplace love affairs. Not before noon.
What age did you start working?
I started working when I was 18. My first job was working at an amusement park. I was driving one of the machines. It was long days. You had to be happy all the time. A lot of people who wanted to go on the machines, like the rides, and then they got sick afterwards and you had to clean up after them. It wasn't exactly what a great job was, but it paid.
I think I was 18. I was modelling.
I started work at 15. It was working in Café de Paris as a dishwasher.
What did I do? I think it was handing out leaflets. You know when you stand on the corner and you hand out leaflets to people to sell alcohol and say, buy this and buy that.
I had my first job when I was 20 years old. I did my degree as an engineer and I went on ships. I was a ship's engineer. So I used to be sailing on large oil tankers and big ships basically. I liked it for the first 2 days and then after that I thought...
Then you got nauseous.
No, well, it was I got nauseous in the first 2 days. No, after that it just got a bit boring because you're always out at sea and it's the same thing over and over again.
16, began working for a stockbroker and as a valuations clerk, which lasted, I think, a year and a half before the company went bust. And then I got a job at the BBC.
And what's your job now? What do you do for a living?
So now I work in a legal company as their process improvement leader.
I am working at Scotch & Soda, so I'm a stylist there on Carnaby Street.
And how much you make per month?
Oh, that's a good question actually. My hour wage is 9, so that's what I go for.
I'm an artist. I paint large canvases. I was an assistant for an artist called D-Face, who's an international street artist, so I'm used to painting like £100,000 pictures. And I also paint like leather jackets and like hoodies.
I have my own business here in London, which actually is very much related to giving people work because it's a recruiting business.
What are the most needed jobs in London?
Any jobs, to be honest. I mean, it's such a big city. It's really high rotation in plenty of jobs, even in senior on senior positions.
I work in retail. I'm a store manager in one of the retail stores just around the corner on Regent Street.
How did you find your job?
I applied online. It was fashionjobs.com, I think it's called.
I collect rejection letters from commissioning editors. I pitch program ideas.
Do you like your job?
I love my job because it makes me happy. And it pays well, and it's everything a job should be.
I'm a women's wear stylist. I work in All Saints. It's cool. It's fun. You get to be creative with obviously girls will come in and be like, oh yeah, I want to wear this, and I need some advice on this.
I work in cultural communications. I work for an agency that specialises in doing the media, press, PR, comms for institutions and organisations that operate in the culture sphere. So that might be museums or galleries, it might be publishing houses or festivals.
How much do you make per month?
Like £1,700 a month.
Is it easy to find a job in London?
I haven't had much trouble, but I don't know, what I do is pretty specific, pretty niche. I think it depends on what you do.
I would say so. I think there's definitely a lot of jobs in customer service, like in food retailers, restaurants, cafes, etc. There's loads and loads of them about.
It depends on how much experience you have. So after I graduated university, I found it really tough. But I think once you have experience, it's a lot easier. But it depends what kind of industry you're going into, I think.
I think it depends on what type of job you want. If you want a job, there's a whole series of MOOC jobs. So if you want to work in a Starbucks or a shop or a Pret-a-Manger, you can get those kind of jobs quite easily. Really lowly paid, there are lots of them. If you want something that actually pays you a decent living, that's a lot more difficult.
Yes, I think it's easy. You just need to nail the interview. If you nail the interview, it's quite easy to find a job. There are loads and loads of jobs.
I think it's a mixture of being easy and hard in the sense that it's a huge city, and like with any city there is a high turnover of jobs. There's always people coming and going. There will always be jobs in London. There's a big population, it's a wealthy city.
You know what, I think it is, because it's such a big place. It's like a massive city. There's places always hiring. Like I used to live in different cities and it wasn't as easy because, you know, you could just go down the street and there's places hiring. You go down to the next one, someone else is looking for like new staff down there. This is a time where people like really need staff as well. So
They're searching for Santa Claus.
are they? I wouldn't be a good Santa Claus, even not with this on. I think you'd probably be a better
Thank you.
Santa Claus than me.
What is more important, qualification or experience? What do you think?
I don't think I could choose either. I think they're equally as important. I think you don't necessarily need experience to get a job because you can always get experience in whatever job you go into.
I would say experience. There's a lot of jobs out there that ask for a lot of different qualifications that I personally don't feel are necessary. But it really depends on the role and depends on what the job is.
I guess it depends on what professions we are talking about. Because if we're talking about the lawyers and doctors and I would say the professions that really the qualification is it's a part of getting the essential knowledge to do the job. Then obviously it's a really important part of getting the job. But in general, I would definitely say that experience is experience and motivation.
Money. I think if you have money, you have time. You can buy time, and if you have time, you've got more opportunities as such.
If you don't have money,
then I would say that
you're searching for a job.
Yeah, exactly. Experience, perhaps.
That's interesting. I think education to start with, because that's what takes you into qualification, in the sense that if you have the right education, then you will go into a job which you like and which they like you, and then you can use that to gain your qualifications.
As a manager, obviously hiring people, it would be the experience. I know a lot of managers in my company that not necessarily have the highest education, but they're very experienced and well qualified. Yeah.
Oh, in my field, it's qualification for sure, because it's very niche. But I'd say overall experience.
Because I'm old, like I'm over 50, it's experience. But getting a job right at the start, I mean, qualifications, how many people have degrees in history and that have a job in, as a doctor? Qualifications don't mean a lot. It's actually experience, whether you can actually do the job.
I think it's a bit of both, 50-50.
Experience. So all the time, I was always told education. You need this, you need that, and then I got that, and no, nobody cares.
No, I disagree in that regard. As in, when you're looking for an internship, as in you're going to get that internship based on the fact that you have an education. However, if you don't have, well, let's say like your first job, they're not going to say, oh, well, we picked the girl who has a master's, or picked the girl who's never been to uni, and then that sort of like expedites your career as well. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend. I have a degree and a master's, and I would recommend, like, I hope when I do have kids that they will follow suit as well in that regard.
How to find a job if you don't have experience?
Yeah, that's the hard thing, right? You got to have experience to get a job. I mean, I think you just need the first job, right? If you're starting out, kind of take what you can get. So if you're trying to get a job as a designer and you've never had a job as a designer before, the first thing you need to do is get a job as a designer. So it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you get that first job, and then it doesn't matter if you stay at it for very long, so then you've broken in.
What I did when I didn't have experience, I went to study, I done short courses, I done a lot of voluntary work as well, just to get experience, because they say if you work for free, then the employer will pay you. Do you know what I mean? And it looks good on your CV as well.
That's a tricky thing. I think you need to, if you don't have experience, I think meeting people and making friends, because friends sometimes get jobs and they say, oh, you know what, this guy just left or this girl just left. I'll go to my boss and I'll make you get in there. So I think it's about contact, it's about time.
Oh, that's the trick, isn't it? I don't know, that's the catch-22 scenario.
It's like a circle.
I know, it's like a circle. They want the qualification but you don't have experience. Luck. That's all I can say is luck.
Yeah, you're a little bit stumped there.
If you don't have the experience, you just have to kind of find it, to be honest. So free internships, just figure out ways in which you can build up a skill set. And even if they're not in the industry that you want to go into, just see if you can find other ways of getting those skills that can be applied to that industry.
What would be your top 3 tips how to find a job in London?
I think you have to narrow down what exactly are you looking for. Is it a weekend job? Is it a everyday job? Do you want to work 9 till 5? Just really follow your dream. Don't just work in any place. You know, life is too short. Just make sure you do what makes you happy.
I would join up with an agency, I would volunteer, and I would keep my options open as well. So if I, for example, wanted to go for an office job, I would have an office-based CV. If I wanted to do a driving job, I would have a driving-based CV. I wouldn't mix everything together.
To be proactive and to try out things. It's a lot of people that they are happy to just give you a chance, right? And so you can actually change your career completely. Obviously, it takes a lot of determination, but it's only up to you.
Be open-minded. If you have this idea that I want to work here, go for it. But there's so many, there's so much entrepreneurship and things going on, so there's always some opportunities out there. I would also say in your CV, you don't have to lie, but you need to kind of paint a good image of you. And if that entails a bit of maybe changing some of the facts, then go for it.
My first tip would be to really start talking to people, networking. Really make sure that you understand the type of thing that you want would be my second thing. As in, what really fires you up? What makes you get up in the morning? And the third is, what are the type of employees, what are the type of colleagues you're going to have?
I'd say always put yourself out there. Don't always rely on online applications. Go and hand in your CV like a printout in stores. I'd say always go in if you are looking for a job with big personality. Make sure you're chatty and smiling, whatever. And also to be well presented, because in London I think everyone's so obsessed with fashion and the way they look. I think that it's nice that if you are presented correctly and you're nicely dressed and clean, whatever.
Talk to people. I think that's the way everyone gets a job, right? Is someone, you get a referral, right? I'm looking at my friend over there. Get out on the job sites, get your CV posted online. Be nice to everyone. Embrace every opportunity.
Get to know people, so speak to people. The best jobs you find through people you know. So just chat to the guy where you get your coffee from, so get to know people. Get to the interview on time, actually before, get there early. And then just be presentable, speak clearly, and don't forget that you're also interviewing whoever's interviewing you.
A good CV, good interview, and charm. That's the only way to do it.
Get a lot of experience, so maybe do some internships while you're at university. Study a relevant degree to what you want to do, and don't be nervous when you attend interviews. Just be confident.
Accept a lot of pushbacks, because you're not going to get given your dream job on your first go, so you've got to really push for it. If you know what you want, stick with it, be determined. Be confident as well. I think London's a big city, it's very sociable. They need to know that you're going to be the right fit in the company. Again, just kind of going back to the determined, because you're going to be told no a hell of a lot of times, because it's not just people in England that want to work in London, it's people from all over the world that want to work in London. If you can't take no as an answer, and you get told no once and you decide to call it quits, you're probably never going to work in London.
Get your CV read over by someone who's in a job that you like the look of. If you think, I would love to work in communications, get someone like me to read over your CV. I've just read over.
How many CVs you suggest to send per day?
I don't think there's a number. I think you have to do research. I think also you get with recruitment firms. You have to be with recruiters. They're professionals. It's their job to make money out of you getting a job. Do loads of research about what kind of thing interests you, and cold email people being like, you might not have any opportunities available, but could I just meet with you to discuss what kind of thing you're looking for, or could you keep me on file for an opportunity that might arise later down the road?
I'd say that look at every building you look at. Remember the fact that there are about 100 jobs in that building, because I easily forget that there are so many different places that I walk past and I forget that people work there. So before I worked at Westminster Abbey, I forgot that that's actually a business. It's a place where people work, in the gift shop, in the actual building around the church, helping different visitors and stuff. Or when I was working at a music venue, I forgot that people work in the music venue. It's not just somewhere that you go. Just remember that there are jobs everywhere.
When you go in there and you kind of almost go in there with the mindset of I'm really passionate about this brand and I want to do this because it's not just the job for me.
You need to be very, very good looking, so make sure that you wear loads of makeup. No, joking. You need to be persistent, you need to be driven, and you need to be ambitious. So, I mean, jobs don't come to you, you need to go to jobs as well. So, update your LinkedIn, you know, go to networking events, you know, make sure that you get your name out there, because at the end of the day, like, you know, getting a job is, you need to be quite sociable as well and be on the ball.
By the way, is it easier for beautiful people to find a job in London?
Well,
like not only in London, everywhere.
Well, to be honest, I get offered jobs all the time. No, it absolutely isn't. It's all about experience.
What is a job that you would never take? The worst job in the world?
I'd never take a job that like took advantage of someone. I'd never take a job that like exploited someone else.
Work in the office.
Why?
Because there's a lot of politics, gossip, ass kissing. One job that you're fighting all the way to become a supervisor or a manager, and they give it to someone who may not be deserving. There's a lot of politics involved in it, and you know that's one of the reasons why I left. It used to stress me out, cause depression. The hours were long, and you know, since doing the job that I'm doing now, I'm making a good name for myself. It's not a guaranteed paycheck all of the time, but I'm much happier doing what I do, and I spend much more hours doing it.
Accounting.
Why?
I think it's just boring. Yeah, although I was really good in maths, but I think it's just I like people, and I like, you know, talk to people, meet new people, and that's all about people. And I feel like, you know, accounting, having myself experience with dealing with accounting people, because obviously they run my business account, it's definitely the job that I wouldn't see myself.
Sales. Sitting in a call center, and this is terrible because my friend does it, and he's good at it, but I would never be able to do with it. I think just the stress and being on commission. I'm not on commission right now, and it's so nice. I think you also meet customers nicer. I know that in some other shops here on Carnaby Street and Regent Street, people are on commission, and you're constantly being told that, you know, how can you milk the most money out of this person you just met? Whilst at my job, it's more, how can I make this person have a good experience?
The job which I would find most boring is the worst job for me forever. So if it was something that I was doing something which was mechanical, doing the same thing again and again and again.
I'd actually never work in a clothing store. I think it's just like where people like strew clothes everywhere, they make it all messy. I wouldn't be able to deal with that every day, like hanging clothes up again after people have done it. So I really like give people who work in clothing stores like their due. Like they're very hard workers, they're good at what they do. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Probably being a pilot. I think it's too risky. Like there's so many lives that just depend on you.
Never want to be an accountant. I think that would be my worst job, because you're sitting at your desk all day, you're looking at a computer screen and you're looking through numbers. So an accountant that's doing auditing would be my worst job.
Being a policeman, it's a hard job and you get no thanks.
Anything in science or maths, because I'm not good at that.
One of my colleagues told me recently that there's a job that exists in the States where because of FDA rules, really strict rules around food, health and safety, when milk goes off, you just have to like get rid of it all. So someone's job is just to like be pouring out like liters and liters and liters of milk.
Where?
Apparently in the States. I don't know if this exists, I was just told this, but that sounds horrendous.
Probably like washing dishes. I hate washing dishes. Or like cleaning stuff. I'm just a very picky person. I don't like touching like wet food as well.
Being a porter, because I don't like carrying heavy things.
Prostitute.
What do you think about workplace love affairs? Have you ever had one?
Workplace love affairs. Not before noon. Yeah, sure. I've never had one, but I'm sure they're fun. I think it would probably add some stress that you don't really need. From my point of view, I wouldn't.
Just add some spice at work.
You're not supposed to be adding spice at work. You're not supposed to be spicing it up at work.
You should work as well.
Save it for when you get home. We need that conference room. I had it booked at 2. Spicing it up in the conference room.
They can be fun.
Have you ever had?
Yeah, I've had a few. There's a reason to go to work.
I think as long as you can remain professional at the workplace and separate that kind of intimate relationship, then go for it. But also, it's kind of like if you can't be with the people you're working with, then like should you be friends with people you work with?
Oh, they're a bit dangerous. I've had my experiences with that. They're kind of messy, especially if they're like if you get too into one and something goes wrong at work, or like you just don't get along with that person anymore because of a certain thing that happened, like I just think it's better to maybe find someone who's not like at your workplace.
Oh, I think they're great.
Have you ever had one?
Nah, not really, I haven't. But I do think they're great. And I know lots of my friends who've met their husbands at work and stuff, so I think it's fine.
Always a bad idea. Never a thing to do. Because there are other people who you have to work with who have to suffer the consequences.
I think if you can keep it professional in the office, then it's fine. But if you let your personal life affect your work, then that's when it can be an issue.
I don't think they're necessarily bad. As long as it doesn't make the workplace awkward, then I don't think it's necessarily too bad. It can be. I mean, some people can deal with it better than others, obviously, but I'm not necessarily against them.
I think if you work at a big organisation and you work in different departments, I think it's probably really like normal now in the 21st century. I think loads of people are going to meet their future spouses or partners or whatever through work. So I think as long as you're okay with it, they're okay with it, and your organisation is, and it's done in like a healthy way that isn't disrupting your work and creating a toxic environment, then whatever, go for it.
Hell yeah, like that's what makes work fun, like going to work and having crushes. I think that's the only thing that makes it like that. Well, not the only thing if you enjoy your job, but that makes it enjoyable, like seeing people and being like, oh, that's that person I have a crush on.
Don't do it.
Oh yeah, your boyfriend.
There.
You have experience.
No, a lady never tells.
Is it easier to find a job if you are a British citizen?
I don't think it's more difficult to get a job in London if you're a British citizen than anybody else. I think there's a lot of mythology and a lot of lies told about it, but it's as easy to get a job in London in a shop now than it was 5 years ago.
I wasn't a British citizen when I came here, so and it wasn't bad. With Brexit, I don't know. Things are going to change, I guess.
I would want to say language, but English is such a widely spoken language that I don't think that holds up or has any logic. Instead, I think that currently, I think for businesses, if we are leaving the European Union, it makes more sense to invest in a British person than a non-British person, and that sucks.
Absolutely not. I don't think so. We have such a, I mean, at my place of work personally, we have such a diverse staff, faculty. Like there's so many people from so many different places who come to work, and they haven't just come to London to work. They may be here to study, etc. But I don't think like nationality or like where you're born determines whether it's easier or harder to get a job.
If you're an EU citizen right now, it's pretty much the same, right? But like if you are from the US or from China or from any Asian country, really, you have to have a visa. And if you don't have someone to sponsor your visa, then it's got to be really hard.
No, again, being a hiring manager, it doesn't matter whether you're a British citizen, you are from abroad, as long as you speak English, because ultimately you have to speak language.
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's probably pretty neutral. I think most companies are quite open to whoever's the best fit rather than British.
Yeah, for sure. Just because I think there's quite strict visa policies when finding a job in London. So if you come out from outside Europe, then it can be quite tricky to get that visa sponsorship.
It's all about whether you're eligible to work. If you're eligible to work, you're eligible to work. If you're not, though, then that's really problematic.
It's not necessarily like that. I mean, you can find jobs, especially a city like London, so metropolitan. It's so cultured, and anyone can really find a job now. It's not like that. It's not like you're British and you get a job better.
What is the best advice your boss has ever given to you?
Calm down. I was really intense my first couple of days because I was like, oh my god, how do we do this? Oh. And then he was like, you know what, just be yourself, because like people appreciate that.
At the time, my boss said, why are you not an artist? And I thought to myself, yes, why am I not an artist? So, having those conversations with my boss at the time, it inspired me to follow my passion.
Don't give up. And that's it. I mean, I think if you really try, if you really believe, if you really want to achieve something, you will always achieve.
She told me when to ask for more money, to ask for a raise. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And I got it. So I was like, thanks, that was good advice.
Don't make money your priority. make sure that people remember you for what you're doing, so being the best?
When I first joined the BBC, a woman who I still know said there are various people who are going to try and help you in this corporation, and the only ones that really can are the people that have a budget. If they don't have a budget, they can't help you. And that was the best advice, and that was also the truth.
I was feeling nervous about something, and one of my managers said, just go in and act confident. If you act like you know what you're doing, then it's all gonna work out.
Don't be late.
They give you motivation, you know, just when like you need to get sales in or you need to hit a target. They kind of tell you, advise you on what to do, or just little things. They teach you about brands. They teach you about work ethic, I think.
Leave the company. Look objectively at the company and don't look narrow-mindedly at the department that you're working in, because if you look objectively, then you gain sort of a reputable, I suppose, within the wider company, and that gets you noticed, as opposed to being quite narrow-minded and tunnel-visioned in your own department. So that's probably my advice: is think objectively and make as many like allies as you can.
Have you ever had a situation when your boss was treating you unfairly?
Many times, because from the perspective of my boss, they wanted a certain level of work or a certain set of hours that you didn't necessarily want to do, and they were essentially forcing you to do it.
There's been times when I feel like my boss is being unfair. I mean, in the sense that, at least in retail, you know, be more proactive, be there, do the rails and everything like that, and I'm doing it, but then something comes up and then, you know, why weren't you doing this thing? And then there's a conflict of interest there. Whilst for me, I think you need to be more flexible in your work. I think if a boss can appreciate your flexibility, that's good.
Fortunately, I don't think I have. I've always been treated very fairly. I mean, you know, as fair as a middle-class white male can have it. Sarcastic.
A very long time ago when I was on the ship, there was one boss who was treating me very, very unfair. It wasn't that as much as it was more on an insulting side of things. And I was too junior at the time. I didn't know what to do. And so I just took it. I learned how to deal with my manager. And I learned that I needed to be honest. And if I found that my manager wasn't actually treating me or somebody else properly, I would tell him that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all been in situations like that, definitely. Well, you just have to talk to people, get advice from, I guess, other management. I have a lot of managers at work, so I have a lot of people I can talk to.
Oh, I've had bosses that didn't like me and they were like very mean to me because of like in different situations. I would say yes, but not to the point where I cared that much, because I just think of it as once you leave, once you sign out, it's just another person that you don't like and don't like you.